name is Ayala, and this is my first Let's Talk video for the month of March. The book that I'm currently reading is The First 50 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. This book follows Harry's August existence. Harry's August life is quite peculiar. Apparently, he doesn't die. Every time that he dies, he starts to relive his life from the moment that he was born, but with all of his memories of his previous lives. And he's part of a huge community of people that have that ability. We go through different lives as Harry August tells us his story, and the premise for the story is that in his 12th life, a young girl comes to his bedside as he's dying before he'll start once again, and she tells him that a message has been passed down from generations from people like them saying that the end of the world is getting nearer, so it's happening before it's supposed to. And we follow him as he's trying to figure out why that is happening. But I think that is just, as you will say, like the surface of the story, and the story talks about much more complex things. What are the consequences of trying to change it or to manipulate it? There's a very interesting scene between two characters as they sit down and they're like drinking in the afternoon or the nighttime, and they're discussing this problem of a man that he goes back in time. He goes out and he just stands outside for 10 seconds and comes back. And what are all the different changes? What will happen to the world and to the universe? And would there be a paradox or not? Which was really interesting to see. It's a very big concept throughout the story. Another thing that I think is brought forth very neatly in the story is what is the meaning of life itself. This isn't something that's addressed throughout the story, but the fact that we have Harry August and his very contrast to us normal human beings that live for a span of time and then we die and we don't exist on this plane or whatever you believe, but we do not exist anymore. And we have Harry August, that's not his case. He keeps on repeating his life. And so he starts questioning himself, like, what is the meaning of my life? If I can relive my life over and over again, should I sit back? What should I do? What is the meaning of me? Why am I here? And it makes you think about yourself, because we're the very opposite of Harry August. So what can we achieve with our very short lifespan? Do the things that we do even matter into like the big picture of things if we're just here for a short span of time? It makes you think about all these questions that I really enjoy thinking about, but at the same time I can tell you that the thing that frightens me most is if once we die we just cease to exist. So when I start to think about those kind of questions, I get into like a terrified state. And the third thing that I think the story really talks about is the moral question that has been brought forth through science fiction for ages, and that's if we had the power to change things, like if we knew a certain bad event would happen and we'll be able to prevent it, should we, or should we sit back from the side? Because on one hand, let's say the Holocaust, if somebody could know that the Holocaust was going to happen and they were able to prevent it by, I don't know, doing something to Hitler or whatnot, then would you do it and then save all of those millions of Jewish people? But at the same time, if the Holocaust wouldn't have happened, then lots of different Jewish communities wouldn't have met, hundreds of people wouldn't have been born, another hundreds generation, or the current generation of Jewish people might not have even existed. Israel wouldn't have probably existed if there wasn't the Holocaust to make all the Jewish people understand that they need their own country. So you get what I mean? It's those kind of like moral question that goes back and forth between the Cronus Club, which is a club of people like Harry that decide that they don't want to interfere in the history timeline, or other people that he gets to know that they feel like we have the power, we have the knowledge, we should change things. So that's also very interesting to see throughout the story. That's all I wanted to talk about the 50 Lives of Harry August, because I think that all those questions that I brought forth and that are brought forth in the story, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just basically the answer that fits you and that's based on your principles and beliefs. I can think one thing and be totally convinced that it's the right thing to do. You can think an entirely different thing and think that what I'm thinking is totally wrong. And it's all okay because it's all based on the environment that we grew up in. Our principles, our beliefs, our opinions. Everybody's different, so everybody has a different opinion. And it's just something that's interesting to think about because it makes you realize things about yourself that maybe if you didn't think about those questions, you wouldn't realize. I hope that you found this video interesting, and I would love to hear your thoughts down below. If you've read this book, if you didn't read this book, what's your opinion about the different philosophical things that I talked about? I'd love to know. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll have another video of you guys soon. Goodbye.